Welcome back to the show. Check out these headlines we have for you. U.S. advances Clarity Act in the Senate. We're going to talk about it. NASDAQ listed tokenized stocks and how XRP could hit 50 bucks. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show. You could follow us on X, YouTube, and DigPerspectives.com for exclusive content. Right now, $3.98 trillion market cap for crypto. The market's up 1.3%. We're knocking on 4 trillion's door, and it's good news. Bitcoin 112,300 plus, 4,300 plus for Ethereum. XRP's 298. It's up 4.9 on the 24. It's up 7.4 on the 7-day. Let's take a look at the range of price here. Range between 284 and 297. We are at the top side of that range. Keep an eye on what's going on out here, ladies and gentlemen. Every one of the technical analysts are changing their targets to higher targets, and most of them are telling us if we get above the 303, we're really in a bullish area here, and XRP is climbing, so you want to keep an eye on it today. Let's talk about this, ladies and gentlemen. It is iTrustCapital. And I tell you something, I've been using iTrustCapital IRA for at least 6 years now, and I absolutely love it. And you will too. And it's not just crypto, it's the best crypto and gold and silver IRAs on the planet. And you could have access to it right before the biggest bull run in the history of digital assets. Or you could roll your 401k over. I know a lot of people have lost their job. The job number for unemployment has gone up. You're going to have to do something with your 401k or your retirement account. You can easily roll these things right over into iTrust without, they've made it so smooth to do. And listen, they have incredible customer service. They have all the tax advantages you get from the IRA. Institutional grade custody, which you also get with a premium custody account, which is a closed loop system to help protect all of you by offering you a general account that's not an IRA where you could put the rest of your portfolio. How about that one? Award-winning US-based support, low cost, no monthly fee, institutional custody. I'm telling you, this is a remarkable opportunity. If you're someone who is worried about your assets and your portfolio, worry no more, because that's why I put my assets where I do, so I don't have the concerns. Security, safety, I'm telling you, these are the number one issues out here, and I know they matter to you too. And the time to act is before something bad happens to you, right? So this is what they've done here. You can try the premium custody account, closed loop system. You go in with your cash and crypto, trade 24/7, all the assets you want, but when you come out, it's got to come out cash only to your US checking account. So if you, God forbid, clicked on something you shouldn't have and you got hacked, you're going to be protected because your assets will just be cashed out and go to your checking account. It's the only thing that can be done with them, and that is done specifically to give you an extra layer of security out here in this digital asset space. Click the link under the video and get started today. Peace of mind, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, take a look at this. Trust Wallet says, good morning to everyone in all of these countries that just got access to tokenized stocks right from their phones. This is where the world is going. Trust Wallet introducing tokenized stocks and ETFs. Trust Wallet becomes the first self-custody wallet to unlock real-world assets. 200 million plus users can now access real-world assets with USDC like any other person in the market. I think this is remarkable, and it's absolutely where the world's going, because Ondo Finance is doing it too. Everyone's doing it. And boy, I tell you, shout out to Ondo, over 100 assets are already now live and tokenized, and that's being done on Ethereum. So listen, this is all coming together. This is the new normal that's rolling out, and look who's doing it now. NASDAQ files with the SEC to allow tokenization and blockchain listing of stocks. Now, that didn't take long. This is just a few days after the SEC and the CFTC released a joint statement, kumbaya, saying you guys can green light, and NASDAQ, New York Stock Exchange, CME Group, and others can all list tokenized stocks. And here they are filing to do so just days later. Well, wait for it because the New York Stock Exchange will be next and the CME group to go with it. This is a moment to remember. NASDAQ filing with the SEC to list tokenized stocks, ladies and gentlemen. The game is about to be on. And the crypto exchanges are about to get competition to a level they've never experienced. Watch out for more merger acquisitions in this space. Then we see this soil. Listen to this meat soil, an institutional grade yield protocol. I'm going to say that one more time. An institutional grade yield protocol now coming natively to the XRP ledger, supported by Ripple and Securitize, BlackRock, and Hamilton Lane funds. Well, these are big names here, ladies and gentlemen, backing soil. Plant early, harvest big, 7% fixed APR in real USD. This is something we're all going to want to know more about, ladies and gentlemen. And you know what? I've already reached out to them. I'm going to do my best to see if we can get them on the show or certainly have a conversation. So this is remarkable. And this is natively on the XRP ledger. Loving this for all of us. Where are we at with the legislation? That's where we need to be. And if you want to know where to be at with it, Eleanor Terrace, the place to go. So shout out to Eleanor. Now let's get into this article. She does a great job writing this article here, but I'm just going to give you some of the pieces of this. But early reaction to Senate Banking Committee's latest market structure discussion draft is leaning positive. Now that's nice for a change. Over the weekend, a handful of prominent industry voices took to social media to share initial reactions on a 182-page text released Friday afternoon. Early praise focused on the bill's clarity around decentralized governance, staking, airdrops, tokenization, and protections for software developers and self-custody. All important issues that need to be carefully protected, no question about it. Now, let me come down here a little bit because the next step, the committee introduces a bill and holds a markup potentially by the end of the month. How quickly that happens will depend on the banking committee Democrats respond and whether they're willing to negotiate on some of the bill's divisive provisions. So we'll see what comes of that. Now, with that being said, let's also take a look at this because the U.S. Senate in the interim has advanced a crypto market bill with tokenized assets amendment. And what they basically say here is that the U.S. Senate revised its comprehensive crypto market structure legislation on Friday, adding language to ensure tokenized stocks and securities like the ones that NASDAQ just filed to list maintain their regulatory classification when moved to blockchain platforms. The amendment addresses concerns digitized traditional assets could fall into regulatory gray areas between securities and commodities oversight. So this is a huge step for clarity coming out of that committee there, right? So this is enormous. Now, this is, look, at some point that there's going to be some fight over something, and I'm sure they'll tell us, well, it looks like we'll have to try again in 26 or 27, right? That's the same thing that happened with the Genius Act. And what they do? They put it through. Dimes to donuts, this bill's going through, and it's not going through because I said so. It's going through because the United States knows it's about preserving and protecting the U.S. dollar dominance as a global reserve currency. And if they don't pass the market infrastructure bill, they may well have not have passed the Genius Act to go with it because one is worthless without the other. And I don't see the sense of why they would pass and sign into law the Genius Act and stop short of the market infrastructure bill that would bring it all home. So, well, listen, Congress has done dumb things before, but I think, again, this is about the way of life. And this way of life applies to the congressional officials as well as it does the regular citizens. They don't get to choose, if you leave the dollar behind. So I don't think that's happening. I think we're getting that market infrastructure bill. And when we do, don't forget about this.
That are currently being discussed in the House and Senate. The one that's most likely to pass in the next 60 to 90 days is the stablecoin bill,
which already passed.
And then the second one's the market structure bill. Once those two bills pass, Apple, Microsoft, Google, Facebook are going to say, hey, we're crypto people now. And so they're going to put wallets in their platforms because they can capture an enormous amount of the market. When you add their user bases of 3 billion people, and when they have those 3 billion users, it's like they have cryptocurrency wallets right in Windows, right in Facebook, right in your cell phone apps, right in iOS.
damn near the next day, just like we saw the joint statement from the SEC and the CFTC saying, hey, New York Stock Exchange, NASDAQ, all you guys can list crypto, right? And just a few days later, what do we see? NASDAQ filing to list tokenized securities. You know, this is the same thing. When they pass that market infrastructure bill, I think Charles has got it spot on. You're going to wake up just a day or two later and voila, you got 3 billion people with crypto wallets. That's what's getting ready to happen. Then sprinkle this in. Now, all of this could be happening in the same short window of time, along with, by the way, I find it pretty incredible that a veteran Bitcoin investor, Pompeius, argues that the SEC clears pending spot XRP ETFs in October. The conditions could align for XRP to hit $50 by the end of this year in such a short period of time. Now, you think that's a little crazy? Well, listen to what he says here. Veteran investor Pompeius argues here that if the SEC clears all pending, the ETFs could hit $50. He says he pointed out that at least 6 major issuers have already submitted active S1 filings for amendments with the SEC. These include Bitwise, WisdomTree, 21 Shares, Canary Capital, CoinShares, and Franklin Templeton. According to Pompeius, it says here that the timing of these filings following the SEC dismissal of the case against Ripple suggests that issuers are preparing for a serious launch window. October is the key decision window. He goes on to say here that the SEC's current review calendar places multiple ETF for XRP applications in a decision cluster around late October 25, which is around the same time, late October, early November, that we should be getting the legislation for the Clarity Act. It's at the same time we should be hearing about the banking license and the national charter license and the Fed master account. All of these things in the same window. Pompeius notes that this creates a potential all green or all red moment if they get denied. Should approvals come through, the ETF launch begins rolling out in Q4, setting the stage for institutional money to enter XRP at scale. And then talking about the industry insiders project the first month of spot XRP ETF inflows will exceed $5 billion. We've heard Stephen McClure from Canary Capital suggest that. JP Morgan has suggested $8 billion in the first month. So notably, about $35 billion in escrow and a large portion of circulating supply is in the hands of exchanges, major holders. In other words, the effective free float is thin. And I think that's exactly right. And that's exactly how ETFs should be looked at, is a vacuum sucking up the loose liquidity off the market and putting it in a qualified custodian to underpin that ETF offering. And as you do that, it's going to drive the price up or at least put upward pressure on the market. And in doing so, then again, you have to add in the other things, the Clarity Act and all the financial institutions being allowed to come in, right? Tokenized stock options and how that's going to, or offerings and how that's going to change the markets. The demand is about to be at unbelievable levels when NASDAQ are selling tokenized stocks. And believe me, I'm sure they'll be offering crypto as well. You're going to see New York Stock Exchange doing this too, and that is going to turn the world on like never, ever before. Let's take a look at this really quickly here. But then if you think that's crazy, Javon Mark says, if we repeat what we did in 2017, 2018, XRP could hit $127. So looking at 40 or 50 or 27 bucks for XRP is not even considering if we get a repeat of 2017, 2018. And thus far, that's exactly what the charts are mimicking, is 2017, 2018. So will we get that full repeat, or will it be something that rhymes? No one knows, but I'm glad our bags are filled while we're waiting for it. It's not financial advice from me or anyone else. It's just my digital perspectives. I'll catch all of you on the next one.